all the way to the third. As we look now to the standings as they've been updated, just one more shot for Dallas to make a move here. The men are coming up next. They will not play again until week 8. So they will be stuck. They're looking to move to 6-6, but they've got a tough task in front of them. And it's this duo, the New York Nitro. Taylor Crabb, Taylor Sander taking on the 4-1 Benish and Partain. Your men's matchup right here on the CW after this. The Dallas Dream gets set to take on the New York Nitro, a premier level matchup, as Andy Benish and Miles Partain, who sit at 4-1, have a tough team of Taylor Crabb and Taylor Sander on the opposite side of the net. What have we seen from Andy Benish, Miles Partain? They took a loss the last time we saw them out, and then a win this weekend. They look like they're in the right trajectory. Yeah, Andy Benish can assert himself in a couple of different ways. He can do it blocking, or he can do it serving. He's really done an excellent job of developing that serve into a weapon. And for Miles Partain, he just digs a ton of balls, creates so much opportunity, and then puts a whole wealth of different shots, different spins, different arm angles on it. You never know where the wily lefty is going to crank one. Well, this one is Andy Benish standing at 6'9" out of Rancho Palisades, and an impressive performance he had at USC. He was a 4-time starter, and now looking to the other side, his defender, a Bruin, a little crosstown rivalry from Miles Partain.
Yeah, partnership divided, right? That's how they refer to it over there in LA. But Miles Partain, where Andy Benish, nothing's expected of him. He's a middle. What's he going to do? Miles Partain's been the top U.S. talent for some time.
Miles Partain, the lefty, you'll get a chance to see that go to work. And the New York Nitro, Taylor Crabb and Taylor Sander. This is a pairing that has faced off against Dallas 3 times in 2024. Haven't picked up a win. They're currently sitting at 2-1 in 25.
Right, but I think these conditions are tailor-made for a little success for the New York Nitro, if I do say so. 2 reasons. One, Taylor Sander on the left, right? He loves to crank the jump serve. We've got some wind, so you can work into that wind with heavy topspin, heavy speed. I'd expect Taylor Sander to really be getting after his jumper, put a ton of pressure on the serve receive on the other side. And for his partner, Taylor Crabb, now here's a guy who plays in every condition. You'll find him out there, 3 o'clock, 21st Street, playing. It's fine. He's in the wind. He's got to move the ball around. There's guys everywhere. They're playing 6-on-6, 4-on-4. Taylor Crabb and his control is something that's hugely beneficial when the wind is up and the conditions are changing.
Taylor Crabb, Taylor Sander, both 33 years old as they head to the net. And interestingly enough, friends forever, those two. So they bring a great deal of chemistry to the court, not just skill.
Thick as thieves they are.
Exactly.
Like Red and Andy in Shawshank, right? That's who they are.
Andy and Miles went a perfect 10-0 in 2024. They had just their first loss in league history against the LA Launch, a rookie duo that was back in San Diego. Since then, they have righted the ship, facing off now against the New York Nitro. Quick snap to Miles Partain. And the early net violation from Taylor Sander. So what's going to be imperative when you face off against a lefty, someone as skilled as Miles Partain in that side-out game?
You don't see lefties a ton indoors. Now, you really don't see them on the beach that often, so your blocking lineups have to account for that arm. You have to stop short. When he's hitting on that right-hand side, you as a blocker, when you're moving to your left, you have to stop short of where you think you ought to be for a right-handed attacker. It is something for a little bit you have to do mentally every single time. A little bit of gymnastics in the middle of the play.
There have been 3 matches already on the day. You just caught our second here on the CW, but you saw the service error. It's been the story of the day. As here comes Miles Partain, just carving. In those 3 matches thus far, only 4 aces, combined 31 service errors. That explains the wind in a nutshell.
Yeah, okay. And I don't think that's going to apply here. I think you're going to see a couple of guys who can really jump serve at a high level and a couple of guys who can serve with variety. I don't expect more aces to error ratio like that in this one. I expect to see a lot more aces.
Saw the tough serve there from Andy Benish, high set, and housed. The big monster block from Taylor Sander. Head now to Casey Patterson.
I mean, as you saw just there with Taylor Sander leveling up and just stuffing Miles in the angle, listening to them at the timeout, or sorry, before the match, kind of their game plan. Like, look, physically and talent-wise, they can hang with anyone in the world. And so it's finding that structure and consistency with each other and communicating. So that's what they're focusing on, just being real tight, communicating, and giving themselves chances and executing.
That's a great call, trying to find some chances there. It all starts with that service pressure. This is a team that really moves the ball around.
They do, and interestingly enough, Taylor Crabb goes a bunch of float. Here he goes jumper right away, jumper down the middle to start. How long will he stick with that? What variety will he throw at the Dallas Dream? Keep an eye on that.
The team that did play together last season, actually both of these teams. As that's an impact of the win, just the missed contact from Miles Partain.
Yeah, and a little bit of gamesmanship there by Taylor Sander. He was coming up way late. He was looking to block a shot that time. He was not trying to block a hard-driven ball.
Both men of the New York Nitro, former AVCA Players of the Year, as Andy Benish unloads on the option play. One of the great nuances to their game. You can see the impact yet again, the wind as that ball's tossed high up into the air, and it just dances.
Well mitigated by the excellent set from Andy Benish. That's the other skill you don't expect from a middle blocker, those soft hands and good location to his partner on the left-hand side. Not usually the comfort zone for a lot of left-handed players.
Another player of the year, the MPSF player of the year. Well, Miles Partain back when he was playing at UCLA. He left school early to pursue his Olympic dream alongside Andy Binish as a net violation is called on the Nitro. Sanders going to argue here.
Big wave Dave down there. Taylor Craft says no way.
But he played his freshman and sophomore season with the Bruins. As you take a look back at the replay, is there a net? It's shaken.
Would have been the wrist of Taylor Crabb just touching the top of the cable.
To the right side, Taylor Crabb, and this is one of the adjustments we've seen this season from Crabb and Sander. They've actually switched sides on who's on the left and who's on the right side. Why would they do such a thing?
They're trying to put Taylor Sander in a comfort zone, right? They're trying to make it a little bit easier for him. Taylor Crabb does not care which side he plays, and I don't know that Sander necessarily cares, other than they've identified that he's a little better on that right-hand side. The thing that they've done is that ball is worked expertly by Partain. The thing they've done is run some slides with Taylor Crabb. They'll run him on a slide to the right-hand side. You saw him get to the right-hand side earlier off that back set. And the more they can keep the ball off the net right now, away from Andy Benish, the better. You don't want to get in a joust situation with the 6'9" big man. And if you're wondering, a joust is when the ball is on top of the net and both players go for it at the same time. And you can win that in a variety of ways. You can push your opponent, you can redirect the ball, you can try and dump it, which was the right choice except for the net by Taylor Crabb a few plays ago.
6'9" to 6'5" between these two blockers, and that's a crossbody swing and walloped by Benish.
So far, New York has served the ball expertly. They're hitting sides. They're putting English on the ball. They're right to the edges of the court. But the thing is, Dallas Dream are hitting their way out. They're controlling the ball off of difficult serves. Their ball control is winning for the first 12 points here, keeping them in it.
How about that ball control?
Yeah.
Double axe handle on the reception. And the finesse. No one does it quite like Crabb.
Yeah, the creativity, unbelievable. This man is a savant, a Monet, a Rembrandt with the ball at the point of contact.
Grew up playing on the baby court at Outrigger Canoe Club in Honolulu, Hawaii. Alongside his brother Trevor, also a member in the league, as that ball is sent well off the net. Now the 8-6 advantage for Crabb and Sander. Each one of these teams with a loss, but still trying to make some move in the cup standings. A little sun cruising here at EHP Resort and Marina as we are in the midst of an epic battle between the New York Nitro and the Dallas Dream, two men's teams at the top of the standings that look to push just a bit further. And an impressive crew out on the sand when you consider all 4 Olympians in their own right. You see Phil Dahlhauser. These are Olympians this season in the AVP League. Phil Dahlhauser, of course, the 4-time Olympian and gold medalist. Sander actually earned his Olympic rings in the indoor side of the game. Also a bronze medal on his side. And also important to note, Taylor Crabb, considered an Olympian from Tokyo 2020 in the midst of COVID and some difficult adversity coming his direction. Tri Bourne filling in for him.
Yeah, absolutely. He earned the spot alongside Jake Gibb. In fact, flew all the way to Japan. And unfortunately, the pedantic times ended up taking away that opportunity from him. He was quarantined and sent home, and Tri Bourne was sent as the substitute. What a ridiculous set of circumstances, unfortunately, coming to bear on him as that ball sneaks over, Caterpillar style, over the top of the net.
And of course, the other Olympians here, Benish and Partain from Paris 2024. One of the youngest duos to ever earn the right in the sport of beach volleyball. Miles Partain, currently just 22 years old.
Much like Taryn Brasher and Kristen Nuss, great things and potential ahead as Andy Benish asserts himself from the service line. A lot of growth left in that women's team from Austin, who we just saw come up with the victory, as well as these men from Dallas. I believe both of them can get so much better.
Back-to-back aces from Andy Benish.
Told you service would be a factor. He can really assert himself in the line without the benefit of the wind. He's going to cut that thing again. Don't go straight. Go to your left. Well, or go straight.
Fins off the third.
Andy, do whatever you want.
That ball sent over on 2, and it's Partain at the net. Swing blocks and snap just to the side.
That's a little hang and bang, they call it, from Taylor Sander. Jump up a little too early, but because you're Taylor Sander and you're rocking like a 43-inch vertical, you just wait there a little while. Ball comes down to you, you take a look at maybe the defense, you look at the offense, you wave to your girl in the stands, and then you crush the ball.
Jump set with tempo. That's one of the wrinkles of this team of Andy Benish and Miles Partain that sets them apart from so many.
Yeah, like a Sharpay. You got lots of wrinkles, Cameron. Looking at me kind of weird over there. The Sharpay got kind of a mashed up face, right? They can do all kinds of different weird things and throw them at you.
This explains our age differential. I'm thinking Sharpay from High School Musical.
I don't even know what that is. Short serve.
Attacking more out of the middle of the court. Some changes in angles. Benish Partain now with a 2-point lead. This time it's Miles at the service. Serves from the right side. Sends an easy one to Sander.
Too easy.
What's not easy, hitting with your offhand.
Yeah, speaking of wrinkles, New York Nitro also looked like a shirt you left in the dryer overnight, or perhaps for a couple days.
The AVP League best server misses one long from 2024.
Yeah, I think it's a little harder to work into the wind from that side. We don't have a completely cross breeze here. I think you have to go for it from this side where the Dream are. You get a little more pop, a little more bite with the ball in the air. When you put that top spin on it, it bites the air and comes down.
Currently on a 6-3 run are the Dallas Dream. They're leaving the door open with that missed serve.
They are, indeed.
Where's the target considering just the side out ability of both of these on the reception?
Oh, that's always the problem, right? And you throw that in there with the left-handed Miles Partain playing on the right-hand side. So the issue there is that both of them are kind of at their maximum capability with that on-2, because that ball's coming to the open side of their body. When you have a right-hander on the right, that ball has to go all the way across, and they have to track it across their left shoulder to their right shoulder to hit it. With a lefty, it's just natural.
Not looking for the on-2 here from the New York Nitro. Instead, quiet hand of Taylor Crabb.
Ooh, the quiet hand. Is that like when you're playing volleyball inside and you wear one of your gloves?
It always
I like that.
It always makes me think of it because you don't even hear the contact.
Yeah. I like that.
I mean, it's one thing playing indoor when you can tip the ball to not hear the contact, but to find that hard pop off your hand and still not hear anything. It's magic, as here's a split block situation. That was Crab at the net, pulls off. Instead, they earn a defensive opportunity after the free ball. They said they may do this from time to time in 25.
Yeah, and they've done that. But against Andy Benish and Miles Partain, I think you're wise to leave Sander up there. That was one of my curiosities coming in. Would they split block? And they have certainly split block less in this one.
Will that sit in the minds of Crab and Sander, utilizing the split block late in set one? It's now set point as that ball trails long.
13-14 New York needs a point from the service line.
Miss serve after miss serve on this Sunday in windy conditions. Now a must-have for Crab and Sander. Can they even the score, as you must win by 2? Benish checks down and stays technical, picking up set number 1 for the Dallas Dream.
And Miles take the first.
They just beat you with a bunch of good plays is what they do. They'll vary it up, but they make the right choice in the right moment and execute it at a higher level in set 1 to take it deuce.
15-13 in set number 1. Benish and Partain taking apart the New York Nitro piece by piece. This Tuesday on NXT, Trick Williams defends the TNA World Championship against Josh Briggs, and a fatal four-way will decide who faces JC Jane for the NXT Women's Championship. WWE NXT Tuesday at 8/7 Central, right here on the CW. Having a bit of a throwdown here in our men's matchup, our second showcase of the day. Benish Partain wins set number 1, 15-13. I'm Cameron Irwin alongside Kevin Barnett. Casey Patterson down on the sand. Some numbers for you. Kevin, what are you seeing?
I'm seeing a lot of offense from New York, but the difference ends up being the aces from Andy Benish, along with the number of attacks from Dallas. And that's due to not getting stuff blocks, right? You don't see any up there, but channeling the ball, Miles Partain picking it up, transition for a kill. You can hit a lower percentage if you have more attacks, and then you add on some aces.
Looking at the men's side, Kevin, where do these two teams reside in terms of your personal rank from top to bottom in the league?
Well, I'm going to put Benish and Partain at the top. Crab and Sander, I'm a little bit unknown, and I'm a little bit unknown on the next team because it might be Wyatt. It might be, pardon me, not Wyatt Harrison. I was going to another rookie. Let me go to
Logan Webber.
Hagen Smith and Logan Webber. They're going to be my little bit unknown. I love the way they play, but I need more information. And that's forthcoming.
We've only seen 2 competitions from the LA Launch rookies who took down both Olympic duos.
Love everything I saw when they played those 2 matches.
Let's check in now with Casey Patterson.
Yeah, I was kind of sitting behind Nitro's players area again, listening in, and, you know, they played a great match. There was a close set. So they're kind of just, again, going back to basics. All right, how do we control the controllables? But then also, can we keep them from going on 2? How can we add service pressure in locations that doesn't let Miles or Andy just be so comfortable going on 2 or jump setting?
Good call by you, Casey, as you see the block deflected back out of bounds. New York Nitro currently looking to find set number 2. There's the big serve. Stuffed back. Retreating. And a perfect dig. Tempo off the platform. Are you kidding me?
Excellence in several phases of the game right there by Taylor Sander. First of all, remember I said he was playing with the timing? He came up late, swatted that shot. That wasn't enough, so he has this pull dig here. Watch him come up a little bit late, and now it's going to give him the hang time he needed there. This is the better play. Little gator, little side gator they call that, with the mouth open, your hands wide open. You dig that ball up high for you then to crank on it. Taylor Sander does not need much space to be dynamic at the net.
Change of pace. And a solid scoop. Taylor Crabb.
So Taylor Crabb knows his partner's not getting there. What he's reading is, okay, Andy's going on, or pardon me, Benish and Partain are going on 2. He's reading that. He's waiting for that, and he's just playing one-on-one ball against Miles Partain.
No way. Miles Partain gets twisted up off a net cord and still finds a perfect pass with one hand.
Yeah, so if you want to see weirdo contacts that are done successfully, this is the match for you. One of those warm-up games you play where you go, okay, we can only dig the ball with your left hand. You have to dig the ball with your left hand, then you can set and hit over. Little 3-contact fun, that's where that kind of thing pays off.
How does the wind affect the toss of some of these elite servers on the men's side?
It's going to track it from your left to your right if you're Miles Partain or Andy Benish right now. So you, when you throw it, you have to give it a little bit of cross-body action so it comes back to your right arm when you go to hit it.
Gets a hand on it, and that can still put a thought in the attacker's mind. Hey, there's still a hand defensively there, able to reach that high line shot.
Now, your other choice when you're serving like that, too, is to toss it straight up and try and track it to the right. I'd prefer to toss it into the wind a little bit with spin so that it tracks straight rather than getting pushed, and then I have to try and move my feet to attack it.
Miles Partain just kind of sends a rainbow shot to the other side of the net. And it's interesting because Crabb at times will do this exact same move. Why would you maybe do what's called an easy-looking serve against a specific opponent?
Well, you're trying to play a game, right? You're trying to get in transition and score a point that way. Like this, too. They're playing a little bit of a game with them.
maybe create a defensive opportunity. If you trust yourself to turn some points in the backcourt, that could go your direction as well.
I think if you've been with us, we've talked about straight down stuff blocks. We talked about channeling to your partner who's a defender. There's also a control block. Control block is you got your hands on the ball after the opponent attacked it, and your defender, your partner, was able to run it down. That's a control block, as we just saw there.
Here's a juke from Taylor Crabb.
Yeah, this is where the wind could keep them out of that kind of varied offense a little bit. They can't run the backslide. They can't run the little inside tack to the outside. There's just too much variability. So when you get a little break in the wind or you feel like it's consistent, then you can play with it. The problem today has been that the wind has not been consistent. It's been so variable that causes problems. If we had 20-mile-an-hour winds consistent, everyone would just make adjustments.
They're going to have to adjust to that serve. Ace right on the back line. Taylor Sander.
I like him continuing to go for it. You see how much that ball bites. You see the angle, the parabola, if you will, over the top as the ball spin, bites the air, and it dives down. You hit it into the wind, it dives quicker.
Last week, we saw James Shaw serve above 50 miles per hour, and Taylor Sander was the server of the year in 2024. You think he's going to be able to go back-to-back with that title?
Well, he's got some competition. Hagen Smith is probably the best competition right now, already with 8 aces on the year.
Change of pace now from Andy Benish. He works the float serve, takes the spin off as Crabb challenges the block and finds the 8-point mark first, and will get the change of end. Again, each one of these sides of the net, important to note with these windy conditions. All 4 athletes going to have to make their own adjustments here in set number 2. From the indoor game to the sands of East Hampton, Taylor Sander has been impressive as a beach volleyball professional now, as everyone's having some fun here at EHP Resort and Marina. Well, those are some good moves. Little Freeman getting in on the action.
Is that a sprinkler?
Oh, that's absolutely a sprinkler. You know he earned that or learned that one from his dad. As we are just in the midst of set number 2, the New York Nitro taking on the Dallas Dream. Nitro with the advantage in the second. Cameron Irwin alongside Kevin Barnett, and that is Taylor Crabb looking for the transition play. Falls down, and he's ready for a rest.
Here's what's happened in the second set. The Nitro have picked up their offense immensely. In set number 1, they hit 333. Now, remember, they did out-hit the Dream, but not by a ton. Here, 667 is the answer. 405 for Crabb, 304 for Sander. That's the good news. The bad news is the other side is hitting over 500, so this has turned into a very offensive product here in the second set.
Get a chance to see the New York Nitro, Crabb and Sander both loving the game in a multitude of ways. Recently, both spending some time in coaching roles. Taylor Crabb now coaching beach at St. Mary's. As Sander does the no-look swing. That was some self-preservation.
Well, I love the fact you just hear the crowd. Anytime you can suck the air out of the building, that's a good swing.
But both of those athletes spending time in coaching roles. For Sander, he's actually been working in a bit more of a club capacity out of Utah, Southern Utah.
Yeah, trying to spend more time with his kids and be closer by when he's in the off season or when he's in between beach events.
Yeah, and he said he just loves it. It's like sharing little tips and tricks, and he said he really enjoys working with people that are just stepping onto the court for the first, or maybe even some adults. Maybe they're in their beginning phases, and getting to connect with them in a multitude of ways. Just those who are exceptionally passionate about the sport of beach volleyball, just like he and his partner are. High set and a high line reel.
All right, the dig is one thing. The dig is fantastic as this ball sprints by, little scoop hand wide open, love that. This set, the level of difficulty, that's a 9-9, and yeah, perfect celebration, Taylor Sander, because you know you put it on the money for your guy Crabb.
A 6-3 run for the Nitro. How's that set? How much devastation can Crabb create? Another, and he continues to fall back after those swings.
2 plays in a row. Taylor Sander is scooping it under. And you notice how much spin he put on that one, right? Didn't have to be. Indoors, you might not do that. You might get underneath it. You might kind of pop it straight up. Here, he scooped it. And the reason he's scooping it is because of the wind. When you can put some spin on it, and particularly when you put it into the wind, that ball will track straight. It will track straight for your partner, so they know where the ball is going to arrive. They don't have that similar situation we've seen today with so many of the sets where the ball's wavering on and off like a knuckleball. It tracks straight if you can put a little J-stroke under it.
Some of the slight technical differences that you can see in these games. And of course, Kevin Barnett's going to know him better than most, the 2-time Olympian in his own right. Casey Patterson down on the sand, also an Olympian, giving you all the insights. Spanish Partain, the numbers now on screen, set 1 to set 2. Impressive. They took set 1 and they were under 300. Those are some lower efficiency numbers in set 1 than we have seen in competitions past.
Right, but remember, they were generating a lot of opportunities. They had a lot more attacks than the New York Nitro had. Here, it's just turned into a competition of who can get a swing, because both teams are kind of cranking offensively. I think they're both dialing in their systems a little bit. There's always whatever preparation you did before, which could be high, could be low, depending upon the schedule. And then there's whatever adjustments you make in match. Many times those are 2 separate skills. The ability to put together a game plan, to interpret a scouting report, to remember what happened last time you played and apply that, versus, hey, this is what's happening right now. I think probably if you're going to have one skill or the other, the ability to adjust in match, probably a little more valuable.
You're talking about one skill or the other, and I look at the 2 teams down on the sand, and I see 2 contrasting styles as the wind continues to pull in. But there's a little bit of creation of chaos in a beautiful sense on the side of the New York Nitro, and on the opposite side, it's technical, tough volleyball from Dallas.
Cerebral.
It is very cerebral, and you're seeing these 2 styles go head-to-head in this matchup. There's the chaos created from Crabb. And the technicality of Miles Partain.
Yeah, you heard the no there. That was Taylor Sander, who was on the ball, knew where it was going, got his hands in position, and Miles just powered it through him. After this one, a little chicken wing chest.
Little hang time as Partain chases that down. Casey, what's going on with the wind down there?
Yeah, during that little timeout break, the wind was completely stopped, right? And then they get back on the court and it picks up just a little bit. I would say overall, though, the wind is definitely getting less. It's lower miles per hour. It's much more of a manageable type of play, which makes it more fun, and you're seeing that result in these rallies. Opportunities to make big plays, a lot of fun volleyball. So this is kind of where these guys kind of love the conditions right now. Between 5 miles an hour and 10 is kind of perfect.
That's a great call by you. The increase in physicality and just the ability to kind of move that offensive scheme around that much more. Maybe unload on a serve or two here for Andy Benish.
Yeah, Crab and Sander in a good spot if they can handle this serve.
Free ball given. Both the Nitro off the court and back on. Crab points to his partner who made the play.
Sneaky, sneaky Taylor Sander. So the thing is here, Andy thinks it's wide open. By the time he goes into his approach, he's already checked down. There's nobody there. Well, coming off the bench is sort of an illegal play, except when you're playing beach, you just come from the side. That was really sneaky by Taylor Sander to get to this set point that will now have a second chance.
They'll look to earn it with a side out. If the New York Nitro do pick up this second set, we will move on to a third and deciding. Crab. That time deflected. Benish. A brutal dig sent back to the net. And that ball is to the other side of the harbor. We are going to set number 3. The New York Nitro find their game in number 2. AVP League is brought to you by Wilson, the official ball of the AVP. By Sun Cruiser Vodka Iced Tea. Let the good times cruise. And by StubHub, the official ticketing partner of the AVP. The cherry on top, a perfect weekend. Set number 3 is about to happen. Benish, Partey, and Crab Sander at the top of the standings, and some of the top teams in the world going head-to-head. 15 points separate these two, as the first serve is served short to Taylor Crab, who sends it to the corner. Sander has been trouble, though.
Yeah, I was kind of remembering this morning when it was cloudy, there was a little bit of rain happening here in the Hamptons, and now it's beautiful and sunny out. It's just picture perfect. And thinking about the first set where it was cloudy and rainy for Taylor Sander, he was hitting 250. They were losing the set in deuce set fashion. And then he went on to the second set, it got sunny. He hit 833, and they dominated to push to a third here. 833 from 250. What a turnaround for the indoor Olympian medalist.
Sun shining down on Sander. Let's see if it continues here in set number 3. For Benish and Partey, what do you want to see in this third?
Yeah, that's a good question. What do I want to see? I want to see Andy Benish get a hold of a couple of those big swings from Taylor Sander. He's got to make some reads, maybe take some chances that aren't in the defensive plan as he makes the signal there.
You want to see the block of Andy Benish right now. He finds the second contact and runs. Swing block, tries to find the Kong.
Yeah, I mean, I like a move like that, right? You're going to make some big move, try and generate something on your side. What happens is if you're the blocker, you have a plan. I'm going to block line, I'm going to block angle, I'm going to show line, I'm going to block angle, I'm going to jump here, jump there. And then the play happens in front of you, and you're forced to react to whatever happens in front of you, and you can do one of two things. You can really react, change what you're doing, which puts your partner in a situation where they have to react to you changing the program. Or you can stick with a call that you made previously. And I would like Andy Benish to take a couple of chances here. Reach outside his body. Maybe jump to a side, jump to an angle. He can get really effective when he makes some big moves.
Well, and you're talking about the blocking prowess of Andy Benish, and it's been a bit of a change for that duo from a coaching perspective. Theo Brunner now coaching that duo, so you can envision that there's a different perspective on blocking. We'll dig into that more. Let's check down with Casey Patterson.
Yeah, I love what you guys are talking about with what Dallas needs to do. And for me personally, when they just play, a little bit more straight up normal volleyball, the Taylors, that's their wheelhouse. They love that. And so for me, if I'm Dallas, I'm like, look, we got to force this on two and the option way more to kind of dismantle their comfort zone right now with New York just kind of scoring at will almost.
That's a really solid point. Again, forcing Benish and Partey to utilize that option play. He fakes it here from Miles Partey, so looking like you're going to attack on two and instead pulling out the hands to set and deliver to your partner.
And there's two parts to that. One, you want to sell the fake, as Miles Partey did, but then you don't want to sell a fake and then put up a bad set because you were busy faking something. Miles Partey, nice job there, put up a perfectly set ball.
A solid timeout called as the first point is struck by Benish and Partey in set 3. From Indonesia to East Hampton. That's a kill anywhere you look.
That thing is just dirty.
Taylor Sander just coming off his last indoor season in Indonesia. Trying to find his sand legs, and looks like he's found them.
Looked like he tripped a little bit there. His step closed, didn't get maximum jump. Sometimes you catch your foot wrong or you step on a little mound of sand. You'll see guys go back and clear with their feet, kind of a runway, and certainly a little takeoff pad that you want to have consistent sand underneath you.
Sets inside, and it's the change of gears for Taylor Crab.
And everything about Crab as he approaches looks angle. His arm looks angle, his shoulders look angle, his hips are angle. Those are the things that the blocker keys on. And at the last moment, he pivots it all over the top. That's his control.
It's like he goes from 5th gear to 3rd. He just jumps down.
Yeah, don't do that. Unless you're Taylor Crab.
Hard on the gearbox.
It is.
3-5 now. Benish and Partey have worked their way back into this third set. Serve in hand. Benish now 15 attacks, 6 kills, and 4 errors. Still looking to do some damage.
Yeah, watch Andy on the block when he's up there. See if he uses a split block. Sometimes he'll go hands wide and leave space in the middle. He'll look for the angles, or he'll reach with his arms. He doesn't tend to pogo. He doesn't tend to go places to get a ball. I think that's something he could add if you're looking to add stuff in the next few years or the end of this year. He doesn't have a block yet in this one, and that's why I want him to take a few more chances.
It's a perfect side out from Andy Benish as he goes to the high corner. Efficiency for Crab and Sander, 581. Again, in part to that 833, as that just finds the top of the net.
Good advantage in the service game now, 3-1 in terms of aces. This just kind of luck. You can't serve at the cable like that and get aces all the time. If you could, there's a big contract waiting for you in a lot of places.
Crab with the angular approach and angular attack.
I thought that went right through his hands, at least audibly. I don't have a good view of it from our location, but audibly I thought that was into the block.
The errors on screen at the service line, 6 for Benish and Partain, 5 for Crab and Sander. Evening the score now, 6 apiece.
It must have touched the block. The ball never lies.
All is right in the world.
It's a common belief in the sport of volleyball that if you argue a play and you win the next point, whatever you argued was true. The universe knows and has corrected the situation.
Judge and juror in an AVP hat right now. Andy Benish liking his partner swing on that high over the top of the block. If that block is dropping their hands, is that ball staying in?
Yes.
Well calculated then from Miles Partain. Crab finds the only corner on the court that doesn't have a ball mark in it.
Yeah, that's just dumb, right? Because Miles Partain read that shot. He's going into the angle. He's there. Look at his movement right there. He's going to be there. The reason he can't get it is because Taylor Crab cut it too sharp. He kept it so tight to the net while going across the face of the net that it's ungettable unless you were already dead sprint. A regular read won't do it.
Turn here on the end change.
Yeah, side switch there at 8 and play continuing. And another point now for the Nitro, taking back those couple that they gave away moments ago.
One of the best servers in the world, whether he's indoors or on the beach. Sander, too much on it.
Yeah, I mentioned it's a little tougher from this side. What you have to do then is your contact becomes all the more critical. You really have to get over the top of the ball. You have to give maximum topspin to it and drive it down into that wind.
Sticking with the calculated float serve. Partain shifts left, but not far enough. A ridiculous angle from Taylor Crab.
I mean, we could put that on the DJ box where you hit the button and it just says that, Cam. We could just have your voice on that and we'll do it all season long. Fine.
Falling on the set, and what a reach. Literally hanging his arms on the opposite side of the net.
Yeah, this is an indoor kind of move here. He waits far to the right and takes a little crossover step, swing block, gets up big. Swing blocking is a thing that's just starting to make its way to the beach. It's been a continual innovation indoors for the last 10 years, 15 years. It's been refined and sped up. You don't see it a ton here.
That's a great call, that swing block, dropping those arms and then throwing them up to the side of you. No.
Chunked it. Did not get that crisp contact. That was all fingers and top of your palm from Andy Benish for this 5-1 run for New York.
Only once has the Dallas Dream lost in the past 2 years in the AVP League. There's a second swing block. And Sanders saying he actually didn't get it.
I wouldn't worry too much about it right now. 12-9. Moving on. Moving on. Keep siding out. You've been an offensive juggernaut. Don't waste any energy.
Only in East Hampton will you have a view like this. 4 premier level athletes, 4 Olympians, and a sailboat as juxtaposition in the backdrop. 13-9, Crab and Sander looking to serve up just the 2nd loss in 2 years for Benish and Partain in league play.
Crab and Sander just become impenetrable in the side-out portion of the game. They're not giving any points away.
Crab and Sander were 6-2 last year. Again, Benish Partain 10-0 in 2024. As they moved all the way into the final, they took the loss against the San Diego Smash. Were the runners-up a season ago. The New York Nitro made it all the way to the semifinals and unfortunately didn't make their way in. This could be a difference maker, though. Crab and Sander looking to find a massive win in East Hampton. And that was an absolute rocket.
That was the going for it, self-booyah moment. I want the ace to win it. I don't care if we lose the point.
Okay, that one was higher than James Shaw. I'll tell you that. That was more miles per hour. That was 60 plus. Is another match point is here for New York on the platform of Crab. Shot picked up. Partain contorts back to the line.
Not dead yet.
Pressure applied, though, to the Dallas Dream. They got to start turning some reels. Another match point. Crab and Sander. Target remains Taylor Crab. He celebrates on the fadeaway. 15-12 in the 3rd. The New York Nitro take down Benish and Partain. A feat they had yet to accomplish.
What we have in this year is parity. We have a number of good teams that could be in the championship. The best team in the regular season last year was New York. They're looking for a little revenge in the playoffs, and they're already working their way towards that eventual trip to Chicago.
All I know, the cup, the championship, they are up for grabs in 2025, and these two just took one step closer for the New York Nitro. It has been a phenomenal weekend here in East Hampton at EHP Resort and Marina. For Kevin Barnett, Casey Patterson, and our Echo Entertainment crew, as well as the AVP Beach family, I'm Cameron Owen. Thanks for joining us with the AVP League. We can't wait to see you right back on the sand.